Appreciate them for
Very good morning to you. How you doing? And that video right there sets the pace for the conversation that we're having today. Karibuni sana to your world. I am Mwikali Mary, and we have an amazing show lined up for you. We're talking matters being child-free and what that means in this day and age. And our topic, as you will see on the screens, is it an empowered choice or a selfish decision? When partners choose not to have kids or get married, you know, all of that put together, what does that mean? How do we understand it? Do we even know what that means? There's a huge debate happening on social media last week about being childless and being child-free and what those two things mean and how they're very different. But, you know, living in a world where motherhood is seen as both a rite of passage and a measure of fulfillment, choosing to be child-free then is a path that is less understood, less traveled, and frequently questioned about. And helping us have this conversation today is Muthoni Gitau, who I will introduce properly later as I introduce the panel, but she will be telling us why this choice. Why did she make it? Sharing her journey with us. What does it mean? And, you know, the reasons behind that, the clarity of it, because she's been very loud and clear about her journey and why she took it. And we're going to be doing all of that. But because this is not a conversation that is had in isolation, I have an amazing panel as well that will be roped in to help us understand the nitty-gritties of this. And I'd like now to introduce my panel alongside Muthoni as well. And I'm going to start with we have to do this, me and Winnie. It's the thing. Right hand. Alongside Muthoni, on my right, we have Bishop Grace Dalizo. Karibu sana.
Nice to be here.
I love that you're here and you're looking really sharp. Next to to Bishop Grace, we have Dr. Hamati Sheila Buha. I hope Daktari nimesema yo jina vizuri. Ningeka yo ha. Ameko sawa. Is an environmental anthropologist at the Institute of Anthropology, Gender and African Studies, UON. And next to Daktari, we have a relationship coach and founder, Ival Emmanuel Gashanja. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And next is definitely the gorgeous, colorful, because I think color is what she introduces herself as. You know, very colorful. She is the DIY queen. She's a content creator, creative, all-round, and also child-free. Muthoni Gitau, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Karibuni sana. Mko tayari?
Kabisa.
Yeah, you've been well? Great. Let's get started. Like I started during my intro, I talked about something that was happening last week, and there was a conversation about being childless and being child-free. So just by the virtue that we are having that, it means there's a confusion somewhere. We are calling child-free people childless and childless people child-free. So just to understand what child-free means for each and one of you, and we'll probably end at you, but we'll start with Bishop. What does child-free mean?
Thank you so much, Mwikali. Nice to see you.
Asante.
I'm grateful to be here. I want to say, to start with, being child-free comes as a result of a decision.
Okay.
Whereas being childless, you don't have a decision on that. Probably is due to some complications or infertility.
Yes.
But when we talk about being child-free, it's a decision that one makes, either to have that, to stay without the children that you would have had, and yet you are fertile. You know, you are in that space that you can get the children, but you make that deliberate decision, conscious decision, not to have the children.
All right. Daktari, what does child-free mean to you?
Well, child-free would be like the bishop just said, you have decided not to have a child, but again, we don't know whether you're fertile or infertile.
Okay.
Because you've not tried to have the child. You've decided not to have.
Yeah.
So we are not sure, but the decision to make child-free, we could stem it from freedom, from something.
Okay.
So, as you said, in this time and age, having children is a factor of cost and benefit. So, where we have value for children, fertility will come in because people see the value of the children.
Okay.
That means the children are not costly. So being child-free means you make a conscious decision. Whether it's popular or not, whether it stigmatizes you or not, that's a personal decision you made.
Okay.
For me, that's what it means by child-free.
I like that you added something else to
The
Bishop's. It's like there's a little something, and I wonder what little other something, Emmanuel, you're going to add into that as a relationship coach. What is child free, and the difference of that and how you understand it.
So I'm actually wishing I started. So they've pretty much defined it.
Yeah.
But for me, I think child free, again, just like them, is the decision that I want to be without a child, somebody to care for and stuff. And this could mean that I am fertile, but in my many activities, I have become pregnant, but chosen not also to have the child. Because I do have friends like that who have chosen to terminate the pregnancy. So child-free, I guess, is a decision, a conscious decision, that I do not want to have a child.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love it. Mudoni, tumekufikia. It's like child-free, that's me.
Yeah, so it's basically everything they've said.
Yeah.
Because it just comes down to a matter of choice.
Okay.
You choose not to have. Doesn't matter if you can or cannot, it's a matter of choice. That's it. Childless is usually not out of choice. That's it. Very simple.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And because
May I ask, though,
please.
Can childless also be, that you just haven't had the opportunity?
It could be that you have the, I think, again, Daktari Akwapa, but the way I see it is probably you have a desire, but you haven't. So probably Mwikali here, as Muthoni is child-free, I am childless. There's a desire, but
not
yet.
there.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
But you have the ability.
The desire.
Ability.
You don't know.
We don't know yet.
The ability is not there.
Ability, we don't know yet.
Not yet.
So even if I had the ability and I'm not able to, then I'm still childless. Now that we have the terminologies out there. Yeah. I think, Muthoni, we start with you because you probably are the center of, you come with you as a story because you've been loud about it. I mean, you've been covered by BBC, Muthoni. The world knows your story, but then I'd like to take it back. Like, how did you come to this decision? Was it conscious? Was it just a feeling? Where did it come from?
I think at first it was unconscious. When you just say things in passing, but you don't know what they really mean. And then with time, you start interrogating where those feelings come from. And then you go like, okay, that's cool. Because it starts off with something as simple as when you're thinking of your future life.
Yes.
And you keep saying, I want to travel the world. I'm going to be married and travel the world with this person. And then someone's like, where are your kids when this is happening? And you're like, what kids? That's the big realization. So for me, it happened as a conversation with my aunt. That was the first time I articulated it. And then I just moved on with life, didn't think much about it.
Yeah. How old were you at that point?
10.
10.
I was talking about my wedding day, how I was going to wear sneakers with my wedding gown. I was going to walk on water. I had planned this wedding. So that was how that first came about. But at that point, again, it's not a serious thing. At 10, no one is thinking, let's talk about it, you know?
Yeah.
And then I think when I became an adult after 18 and I started dating, I'm having a conversation with this young man. And then they're saying, I want to have kids by the time I'm like, oh yeah, that's good for you. Sounds like a nice plan. I don't think I'm wedding. And then that's when now I was like, what does it actually mean to have kids? And is it something that I want? And then I realized, I don't think that's something I envisioned for myself.
Yeah.
And so that's when I was like, okay, let me actually take some time to think about it. Also, I grew up in a place where there was a lot of teenage pregnancies. So guys were getting pregnant very young. So it was important to interrogate that part as well. And then I was like, okay, so what causes pregnancies? People are having sex. So what are we not going to do?
We're not going to have sex.
Yes. So it's like, until we know what it means. So for me, I think initially it was very unconscious, and then it became a very deliberate, conscious decision.
Okay.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll just start from Emmanuel on that end. When you listen to that, and because you interact with a lot of couples, as a child, she's growing up and she's thinking, I can't see them in the picture. But when it comes to relationships, it's something that you're open to. It's not like just because I don't want to have children, then I will not look for a partner. And do you, Emmanuel, and even Bishop, you can tell us, when you counsel these people, are there people that you interact with that are consciously not looking to get kids, but they are in sort of like a tiff-ish with their partner? Because, I mean, I want kids, I love you, but then, what to do?
So 100%, there's always that. There's men who don't want kids, and there's also women who don't want kids.
Yes.
And every single one of them has their reasons. For some, it's a negative reason. Maybe it was trauma they experienced when they were young, and as a result, it has pushed them not to. For some, it's just a cultural decision, like society, like there's so much to do in the world. So, and this is just going to weigh me down and hold me down and hold me back. So I want to be able to express and, do everything that I need to do in this life. So again, it's important that if that is your choice, then I think she said something very powerful.
Yeah.
It's important then to investigate what the reason is.
Yes.
Because then you don't want to grow older and then say, I wish I, because then maybe, like for example, I'll give an example. There was a lady who came into the counseling room, and she was expressing how she didn't want to have a child, and this man desperately wanted to have a football team. And so he kept saying, oh, this empowered woman, blah, 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 blah. I told him, no, calm down. So when we investigated and we just explored the way she was handled by her parents as a kid, now shaped and formed, she said, I don't want any other child to come into this world. The experiences that she experienced as a child, she was just like, no, if I can't be there 100% for this child, then there's no way I'm bringing this child into the world.
Yeah.
So for her, it was from a place of trauma. Yeah, but there's some people who I have met who, it's just, I want to travel the whole world,
Yeah.
I want to explore and use up every inch of my gifts and talents and just express it to the world. And that's what I want to do, enjoy and have fun. For some, it's religious.
Yeah.
For some, it's a religious thing, We are keeping ourselves, I guess, pure and celibate, and being a eunuch, or you can use all those names. And, for the sake of the glory of God.
Okay.
So again, there's different reasons that people will use.
Yeah.
And it's important for you to ask yourself, why don't I want, why am I here? So that you ensure that you're doing it for the right reasons.
Absolutely. I love that we get to ask ourselves those questions. Because you ask yourself, but then the world is waiting for you, eh?
Yeah.
You have to explain it to us.
100%.
We are here for, we need to know. Why are you in that time?
I mean, just think about
Yes.
it. Think about it.
Yeah.
The pressure, as a young person, you're in your 20s, you're done with uni, everybody's asking you, umeleta kamtu,
Next,
umeleta
next,
kamtu. Then when kamtu comes, mnani rorashio, mnarashia lini. And then once you Russia, when is the wedding? When is the wedding?
Yeah.
Then once the wedding, when is the child coming? We're constantly pushing, and the pressure is real.
Yes.
And it comes from every corner.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like right now, I'm sure there are people over there looking at this young lady and saying, "Hey, this girl, I'm serious." But
Yeah.
they don't understand that someone can actually freely have that choice
Absolutely.
to be this and to do this, and
Yeah.
and there's nothing wrong with it. And the Bible actually backs it up.
Oh!
Preach.
Da-da-da-da.
Tereren kidogo.
Da-da-da-da.
Are you going to drop the mic now?
No, let's proceed.
You will definitely, by the end of the show, we will definitely find out what does the Bible say about that, because it's one of the questions, though, because Tukona Bishop Emmanuel is here as well. But Daktari Niulize, the responsibility, or the, what is it called? When I say the rite of passage, and the identity that comes with you being a woman and what is expected of you from history back in the day. Do you think this was ever an option or a conversation that was had then, and the difference that it has brought out now that we're seeing a lot of that happening? Because your sentiment is very open from your opening statements. You're just like, you know, it's neither here nor there. It's make a choice and there's freedom to it. But when you look at the studies, what does it say?
If I can remember some of the things I've read
Yes.
across the continent,
Yeah.
fertility is a mark of honor for women.
Okay.
And because precisely we measure fertility on women, we don't measure fertility on men.
Yeah.
So the women are the ones who provide the mirror for the men, isn't it?
Yeah.
Even when you're studying parenthood or studying, we emphasize on maternity more than paternity. So it's women who provide the platform for men to be fathers.
Okay.
Isn't it? So fertility is a mark of what?
Honor.
Now, if you go to places like Cameroon,
Yes.
among this community called Bamileke.
Bamileke.
Yes.
Okay.
The Bamileke women undergo fattening periods before they get married.
Okay.
They have to be fattened fast.
The silence.
I know.
Huh?
They have to be fattened fast
Yes.
before they get married.
Like a cow.
Because childbirth is such a dangerous thing. The body must be ready for it. If you go to Ghana,
Yes.
among the Talensi, we may think that virginity is a universal premium in Africa.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's not.
Among the Talensi, a woman must confirm fertility before she gets a suitor.
Daktari, naomba ushikilie hapo. Dakika moja tu. Tupunge hewa. The way these things are coming at us, it's all of us in studio. It's quite interesting. We're taking a very short commercial break. We will be right back. But remember, the question of the day today is, can a relationship truly thrive long-term if one partner wants marriage or children and the other does not, no matter how strong the love is? Can a relationship truly thrive long-term if one partner wants marriage or children and the other one doesn't want, no matter how strong the love is? And you can jibu us on all our social media platforms. It's NTV Kenya across all of them. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to Your World Tuesday edition. We're talking all matters relationships, and today we're being very, very specific. We're talking about child-free relationships or marriages and stuff like that, and how that comes about. And the question we are asking you today is, can a relationship truly thrive long-term if one partner wants marriage or children and the other does not want, no matter how strong the love is? So we're not saying that love is not there. Love is definitely there. And we're asking, is being child-free an empowered choice, or is it like a selfish decision? And we are getting, like, we just got started. And Daktari alitupeleka West Africa. Uko ni West Africa, Mark? West Africa. And we talked about how women are fattened before getting married.
In Cameroon.
In Cameroon. And then after that, he told us about virginity and how we view it here is not the same way.
No.
Because
there's a community in Ghana.
Yes.
The Talensi. There's another one in Sierra Leone.
Yes.
Where women have to confirm that they are fertile before they get suitors. So the idea is...
Yes.
Confirm by getting pregnant.
Yes.
The idea is there is no such a person who is so unfortunate as a woman who has no children in those communities.
Okay.
Who is so unfortunate.
So because this will happen until, like, you cannot get married if you've not gone through this test
of fertility.
And is there like a period, like a time frame? And then, you know how people go to get suitors and ukifikisha age 21 and you've not gotten a suitor, then you're now termed unatolewa kwa soko.
You see, in Kenya, well, let's talk about culture.
Yes.
we look at culture as something that is quite static. And when you look at childbearing and getting children
Yes.
and marriage, all this happen within a cultural setting, isn't it?
Yeah.
But culture is not static. Culture is dynamic, keeps changing. Because of economics, because of education, because of political issues, culture changes. So we come to adopt new ideas of doing things. And we do borrow cultural ideas from our neighbors. For us, we went through acculturation
Yeah.
from the British.
Yes.
So we behave like them. And we go to school. So there's this thing we call sequencing of life events. In many cultures which have not adopted Western mode of doing things, their sequencing of life events is still quite regimented, isn't it? So that we have people moving from one stage to the next, and they go through age sets or age groups,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yeah.
So among the Talenzi, for example, or among the Bamileke who do fattening, estimate of age, which is not necessarily biological, social, people grow up together, have to go through all these regimented stages. So when a woman is expected among the Talenzi to have a child, it's like all her age mates already are doing the same.
Okay.
So age mates are going through the same thing. But now we have a situation like in Kenya, maybe other places, where there's choice. We're talking about having a child or not. Then we go to why not have a child?
Yeah.
There are personal reasons, but he talked about pressures from society.
Yes.
Why? Because human beings are unlike other species. We're different from the others. We are cultured, and we live in a society which has norms and practices which are expected to be followed by everyone.
Okay.
So somebody like her choosing not to have children, she's looked upon, and this is a social construct,
Yeah.
a deviant, isn't it?
Yeah.
A social construct.
Yeah.
In spite of her own compelling reasons
Yeah.
to be what she is.
Yeah.
Because we expect her to be
Follow.
that.
Yeah.
And then remember, this culture has also gender. We have gender norms, isn't it? Gender expectations. We even have gender crimes, one of which is committing.
She's committing a gender
Gender
crime. I mean, you don't need to.
We like
So,
survive with black and
so
white.
the thing is, we're this thing, but you see, it's not something that is shackling us down.
Yes.
Because from her, we may now see other people adopting that. Yeah, she broke the gender norms.
Yeah.
Nothing happened to her.
Nothing happened to her.
So
Yeah.
other people may start. But remember, at the back of the mind, we have the cost and what? Benefits of children.
Okay.
Isn't it?
And we're going to get to that. I'd like...
And those costs are
Yes.
both economic as well as social.
Social.
So the social cost is ostracism.
Okay.
Wow.
Where?
That's deep.
Breaking it down. Bishop.
Yes.
Tuingie kanisa.
Tuingie kanisa.
Tuingie kanisa.
Kabisa.
What do they say?
I want to say this, Wikali, that what has come up is very rich, and I think it is cutting across. However, from the biblical point, the Bible is very, very clear that that there is no choice as regards whether you want to have children or not. Because what we see from the book of Genesis chapter 1 and verse 27 is that God created both male and female.
Yes.
In verse 28, he goes on to say that he wants us to be fruitful, multiply, and subdue the earth.
Okay.
So from the onset, we can get the mindset of God that the humans that were brought about, that is Adam and Eve, had one purpose, to multiply and fill the world. Because there was only one Adam, and then the Bible tells us he was alone. That is in Genesis chapter 2 and verse 18. He was very lonely, and God saw it well to bring a helpmate.
Yes.
And out of that, we realize that Cain, Abel, and from that, other generations come and we fill the world. So biblically, we don't prescribe to what Muthoni, my namesake, has said. We don't encourage it.
Yes.
And even if there was such a situation, we normally do an intervention of prayer or tell somebody, what can you do as a couple if you're married already?
Yeah.
Can you go for IV? You know, do something about this. And that is what I've done for many couples. Those who, after a while, they realize 7 years they don't have a child. I've always told them to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And that place, they are, okay, they have not paid me for advertisement, so I'll not talk about them. But it's somebody that is also in faith. They have a hospital, you know, a good hospital, and they're doing that. And people have a choice again to either have twins or have whatever gender they want, but that is happening. Okay. Now, when we go back to the Bible does not force us into marriage.
Okay.
It's a choice to get married.
Okay.
And we see it in 1 Corinthians 7:7, where Paul says, I would rather you be like me. How is like being like him? How is it to be like him? Is to be without a wife. And he was able to do that. However, we know there is something that the Bible underlines in this. You must keep, you know, sacred. You must keep from sexual activities. In other words, you must have genuine celibacy. Okay. No having sexual intercourse. You must remain clean and holy.
Okay.
And that has become a very difficult thing. And that's why Paul says again, if it's not possible with you, then go ahead and get married. Marriage is not something that will be celebrated in heaven. It is for us to keep pure on earth, have children that, you know, have a father and have a mother and a family that has values. Otherwise, it's not something that we are waiting, you know, for God to say this family was the best. No. When it comes to going to heaven, if there is a heaven, you know, I have another pastor here to tell us, it will only apply to an individual.
Okay.
But now, having said that is the biblical point,
yes,
I also evolve. I also evolve because I'm an educated woman and empowered as well. Yes. I have that standpoint of you know, a Christian. I evolve because you have a choice to also control how many children you should have. You know, how many children you'll have. You can't just... As
long as you're being told to multiply.
Yeah, because we've been told to multiply. And you know, we can be very fertile sometimes. You'll not continue giving birth year in, year out, year in. My mother did that for 7 years and she had 6 children. Yes. No, 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 no. You can decide now, there's freedom to decide that I only want 2. Or I want 1, or I want 3. For me, I decided I will have 3.
Yeah.
And I did a procedure to stop it because I knew if I don't do it, I'm not going to entertain contraceptives, then I must do something to stop. So there was control that I did. And therefore, I cannot sit back and say, because the Bible says this, the Bible also says we should apply wisdom.
Yes.
So, and also there's that freedom so long as it doesn't go contrary to the word of God.
Okay.
So I support her fully.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Maybe I would have been there given a chance, but...
Where?
Choice.
Where given a choice?
Yeah, just stay child-free, but I love children. Not we love. Yes. I love children.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Having listened to the background and everything that has been said and the things that probably, Muthoni, you have to probably answer in society and you have to sometimes defend self. What quarters come at you the hardest? Is it the people who are already in relationships? Is it the educated? Is it Kanisa? Is it us, your friends? Where does it come the most, and what is majorly their concern, and what does that make you feel?
That's a good question. Unfortunately, I get a lot of backlash from women, which is interesting. But I also think, for me, I'm judging because I can. I think it's women who didn't know they had a choice, and then now you feel trapped in the choice that you made. And then you go like, no one told me we could choose. Me, I'm already here now. Who told you you can do that? You're going against the thing we were all told to do. Yeah. So it's people who maybe didn't put enough thought into the decision. Again, I'm judging. So that is one thing I've noticed. From men, it's interesting because it comes from a point of it's like the patriarchy speaking. It's a power play thing. It's like, how dare you think you get to decide this for yourself? And it also comes in the form of a threat. There's people who are like, oh, these are the people we should just find and impregnate. And I'm
like a conquest.
Yes.
Okay.
Right? Which is so funny because I'm like, oh, that's so cute because I'm just, I know what to do with that as well. Sorry.
Yo.
So,
okay.
Like for me, you can't threaten me with that, right? So it comes off as a threat. And there's people who are like, I'll be the one to change your mind. It's because you've not met the right man. And I'm like, if you are a man who wants children, you're not the right man for me. Like, there's also that part. And it's a challenge. There's people who want to listen. I have met so many people who are open-minded. But then it's times like when an article drops and your name is in it, and then people, you go read the comments and it's, for me, I find them funny. Because now they start, I'll tell Mchungaji here, they start quoting the Bible and they say the Bible has said, and then I go like, but I don't follow the Bible, so now what happens? Because it's like, you shouldn't assume that everyone follows the same religion.
That's
We don't live by the same rules, right?
That's true.
That's the beauty of the world that we live in, right? That everyone can. And like you said, nitakuwa judged peke yangu. So why are you concerned about my judgment? See, me, if I'm ready, you don't know if me, I've made a pact with God and I'm like, when I come there, one-on-one, it's me and you, tutabonga, right? Because at the end of the day, they say that's how it is. So there's a lot of people who want to project their own beliefs and their own systems on other people, as opposed to just living your life. I'm like, just live yours, I live mine. If there's judgment, we'll all face our judgments in whichever ways. If there's none, at the end of the day, I want to know I lived my life fully and I lived it for myself and I didn't live it for society. Because even when they say multiply, multiplication doesn't necessarily just have to be kids, right? There's so much that people contribute to society that builds other people. It doesn't have to be me and my own children. Do I not participate in other children's lives? Am I not a present aunt? Am I not the cool auntie who comes and returns you after 2 hours? I am. Which is 2 hours, go back. Like, it's important to know your limits, right? So there's the ways in which, even being child-free, you participate in the larger societal growth. That doesn't necessarily mean that I have to give birth. And I wanted to say something to Mchungaji.
Yes.
When you mentioned that when people come to you and you say, okay, do something about it. If we say people are made in the perfect image of God, maybe that's not how you're supposed to perform in this world. It's possible that maybe you might want something so badly. And maybe that's not in the cards for you. And maybe you're supposed to show up in other ways. You don't necessarily have to, because IVF is also a very expensive
it's very expensive.
Very painful, especially for the women. And it's a burden that honestly falls on women, even if, say, the man is one who's impotent. They'll still put the woman through the things, right? So I'm like, sometimes it's, imagine it's okay. Adopting is an option. If you really want to raise a child and give them a life, there's so many kids who don't have parents, who might, again, just need a home, and you can be the parent for them, right? So I'm like, I think the options are there. You don't have to always just
go with whatever was told to us. And
can I say something?
Please.
When they come to us, Mudhoni, it's because they have gotten married. There's no child. We have prayed. We have believed God. And women that are childless have been in the Bible also. We have had Rebecca. Sarah was also like that. And you can see that it's a voice from the heavens. You know, there was an intervention from the heavens saying that you'll become a mother next year at a time like this. That is in the scripture when we look at Genesis 17:18. What I wanted to say to Mudhoni, and that is something that I would want to tell her, because I went through her, when I saw her, I went through her videos.
Digging.
Yeah, I like doing that.
There's
something that she did, I also did it. But I want to talk about my own experience even before we get there. The moment I did a TL to control my birth permanently, after about 1 year, 2 years, I got to a period that I was almost depressed.
That is the tubal ligation.
Yes, I was almost depressed when I realized, because I did it in my 30s, mid-30s. So that was quite early for me. That's what I felt. But I had 3 children. Immediately after 2 years, I felt like I had done the wrong thing, and I thought I was alone until somebody else came to see me and said, I'm going through this phase. I did this, and I'm going through this. I said, I've also done that.
Yeah.
And I realized that for you to do it also, to decide, and I'm sure, as she says, although me, I would judge her because I feel she's very young. She's very, very young, and that's what I kept coming through my mind. You'll excuse me for that.
Yeah.
I looked at her and I saw my baby there, you know, my firstborn.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, how dare she think she doesn't
audacity.
need children?
Yes.
Yes, she says all the beautiful things. I commend her for her language. It's beautiful. You want to listen to her throughout.
Yes.
And she's very convincing.
Yes.
But I kept cutting through and I was saying, my God, yeah, those children have come to you. You have returned them as a sweet, cool auntie. But what about when you get to some age, let's say like 50s or 40s? You know?
And you're
now
all
these
alone.
children have grown, maybe they have gotten their children.
Yeah.
You're all alone. So what happens? What happens to you?
You know, here's what I'll say. Here's
question.
what I'll say to that. Huh?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I guess it's a point to think about and
Yeah.
reflect on. I agree with you about she's young.
Very young.
So the older you grow,
Yeah.
Yes.
the older you grow, then there's the questioning of your past, and
Yeah.
you question some decisions that you'll make.
Okay.
And we'll all do that. Whether I have children, were they enough? Should I have gotten? Should I have tried for girls? You know, should I have tried? Because I've got 3 sons. So should I have tried for girls?
more.
You know, everybody has told me, you know, that you should try for a girl. You know, and I've
Lakini
always
umefika
wanted.
mwisho.
And I've always
Have
wanted
you reached
to
that end?
Hold on, wait, relax, sasa. Cheza chini sasa. Tulisa, let me tell you, school fees. Let me fight with school fees right now. So you know, will I ask myself, because I always want to be a father of a little girl. You know, my own little girl. I want to spoil this. I want to make this princess. In fact, I feel like God probably did this to save my wife from the way I would treat this little girl.
Yes.
You know, I've always wanted. So when I grow older, will I question myself?
Yeah.
Should I have?
Yeah.
You know,
Should I have continued on
everyone
what
who
time?
asks me right now, you know that pressure thing I was saying earlier on?
Yeah.
I tell them, no, my sons will bring me 3 girls,
3 girls.
who someone else has raised, taken to school. Me, all I'll do is spoil them. You get? But I'll question,
Yes.
what would a girl with my DNA
Yeah.
have looked like? Like, should I have tried some more? So,
Yeah.
so I'm asking myself, will I ask myself these
Those questions. And you already have kids.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
have kids.
yes,
So
yeah.
again, I see the point of what she's saying.
Yeah.
I see the point of what she's saying. This is why I said in
Yeah.
the beginning, I think it is important that you explore your reason for doing what you did.
Yes.
So that you ensure later
That you made the right decision.
You made the right decision.
Yeah.
Did I make the right decision to get my children
Yes.
early?
Yeah.
You know, I'm
struggling with getting them late.
you know,
Why shouldn't I have started early?
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
will I be able to play with them? It's,
You know?
I don't think there's a win-win. I
Yeah.
know, Muthoni, I think, Muthoni, you have you probably will answer to that. But before you do, I just wanted to ask something because you've mentioned it,
Yeah.
and Bishop has mentioned it as well.
Yeah.
Could I?
Yes. Okay. Let me just
Ask the question.
Okay,
Okay,
I'll
ask
ask
the
the
question.
question,
And
and then before they answer,
Yeah.
the question is: at what age then? What is the age?
What's the right age?
What is that right age?
Is there
I'm going
a right age?
Exactly. So
Yeah.
you're saying she's too young to make that decision. So where is that? Where's the balance?
So let me tell you where my thought. Let me tell you where my thought process comes
Yes.
from.
This is fiery.
This is where my thought process comes from.
Yes.
Yeah.
So back in 2007, 2008, my relationship was in a turmoil.
Yeah.
In fact, it was just destined really for divorce.
Oh.
And I remember as I talked to mentors and they're talking to me and telling me, and these were guys in their 60s and 70s, there were things that they were telling me that were from a different perspective
Yes.
than what I thought at the time.
Okay.
Which impacted my decision to go back and work on it. All right. One of the things they talked about was a survey that was done where there were people on their deathbed, and all of these guys have done well for themselves. And all of them were asked, you know, a series of questions, you know. And there's only one question that was answered pretty much the same. And what could you have done different? Every single one of them talked about family.
Okay.
Meaning that that was the most important when all was said and done for all of those guys. Now, let's put this into context. Most of them who were surveyed were in a Western culture. You know, it was US, Canada, and the Scandinavian countries. So it was very developed nations. All of them, and chances are they made decisions. A lot of them make decisions to ever have one child. A lot of them end up in divorce because divorce rate is high. So most of them had, I guess, that for their, this is the one thing they wish they worked on. It wasn't the money, it wasn't the titles, the wealth, the blah, blah, the plots, nini. It wasn't any of that.
Yeah.
It was family. And so I questioned myself, when it's my turn, will I regret? So what can I do now to make a difference?
In that.
And to also question myself in the things that I'm doing, why am I doing them? So it was just those hard questions. It was those hard questions now being asked by, you know, back to me, that were opening this mirror that formed now my opinion. All right? And I guess even as she says what she says about Muthoni, is to say, me, the only thing I can tell Muthoni, ask yourself hard, so that and she has said that she did that. She has said that she did that.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't judge her. Let me tell you, guys, for me to get a visa to go to the UK, before I go to that UK place, visa place, there's another visa I need. So me, I'm tied down. Muthoni today, she wants a visa to go to the UK.
She goes.
She'll go. If I want to drive today to go and see CGO on the Zambezi, I want to go and see, what are they called? The Thompson, what are they falls?
The falls, Victoria
Falls.
If
I want to drive.
What are you saying?
No, I'm just saying.
Which visa?
I'm just saying. Wewe unajua hiyo visa. Wewe unatoana hiyo visa. But you see, again, I have to also consider my kids. I'll never forget, my firstborn was born, and it changed how I drove. I used to drive, the car didn't do less than 120. There were 2 speeds. Stop and go. But when my son was born, now everything I do, I have to consider him. I can't live in reckless abandon. Everything I do today, coming here, I have to choose. Should I go for that thing to make money, or do I go and talk to these people on TV? School fees. For university, it's not small time. I need to pay school fees. So you see, again, that's what you were saying earlier on. There's a cost that comes with it. You have to count the cost, you know? And maybe for her, she has already counted the cost. She has seen.
I want to know if she has. Have you?
I can't.
And I know we're doing this again to you, Daktari. Now, it's not intentional. Because we have to take a break.
So that he starts something.
But he starts after the break.
Yes, he starts immediately after the break, before we even give Muthoni to answer all of your questions. I hope you have a notebook somewhere, photographic memory, because our questions have been asked.
Tell us many things.
Prof, we're going to be talking about, Daktari will be talking about the cost of that, what it means, before we give her a chance, and whatever else that you had in mind, because Emmanuel Lapa na Bishop wametupeleka 100. The question, iko tu sawa. The question of the day today. The question of the day today is. I think to end a break. Okay. Welcome back to Your World. This is Relationship Tuesday. We're talking about being child-free and what that means. Is it an empowered choice? Is it a selfish decision? And everything in between all of that. It feels that those are 2 crazy extremes but there's a lot that happens in between them when partners choose not to have kids or get married. What does that mean? The question of the day is, can a relationship truly thrive long term if one partner wants marriage or children and the other does not want, and how, no matter how strong the love is? NTV Kenya on all platforms. And just before the break, I feel like we have bombarded Muthoni with questions, and I have thrown mine in there to just know. And kuna watu wanataka kujua, kwanza umefanya deep digging. 2, what is the right age? 3, Prof has a lot to tell us about the cost. And Dr. please take us back to the cost. And there's something that you were itching to say just before we went on a break.
Bishop talked about Genesis.
Yes, Genesis.
If you go biblical or when you go secular, there's the pressure to fill the earth.
That's true.
So from that perspective, it's a selfish decision.
Yeah.
From that
perspective, yes.
It's a selfish decision.
Okay.
Even if you go secular and go into evolutionary science, populations have to replicate, reproduce. So if a critical mass in this population decides not to reproduce, the population will be extinct.
Yeah.
So the pressure for people to bear is that evolutionary fear of extinction.
Which I don't care about.
we are, for me, I'm simply exploring perspective.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yes.
That the Bible or the Quran tells us that God commanded us to multiply.
Yes.
So having children is fulfilling God's will.
Yeah.
And then so that your children will be the sons of the sea and
Amen.
Isn't it?
Amen.
Then we have evolutionary perspective of survival of species, isn't it? So there's the fear that there'll be this impression on many individuals not to be fertile and therefore lead to the extinction of the species. So that fear is what drives what? The pressure, isn't it? Much as we say, we are not saying we're judging, but the thing is that fear, for me, I'm simply telling you what I see from society, what I read, is the fear of extinction. Then that's that evolutionary memory of everyone. You must leave a footprint in humanity.
Legacy.
So it's actually happening.
That's what the kind of pressure she's going through.
Yeah.
So with this discouragement, this onslaught on her choice, on her decision, and the people like her, is driven by those two ways of looking at it.
Okay.
Now, when you talk about the cost of making this decision, I'll go back to what I talked about, sequencing of life events, isn't it? Women are less fertile when they go to school longer.
Say that again slower.
When I say less fertile, means they'll have less children.
Okay.
Fertility is not like they become infertile. No.
Okay.
Women will be less fertile when they go to school
longer.
So there's what we call opportunity cost.
Okay.
What you forego in getting to gain this.
All right.
So that lacuna, that difference, that threshold, are you able to satisfy yourself? That I'll go to, if let's say you go to class 8, then stop there. You get married, isn't it?
Yes.
You have children every 2 years.
Yeah.
How many will you have, by the way, by the time you're 49?
Almost 12.
49, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you go to Form 4, you are foregone 4 years. So you have lost how many children?
About 4.
4 again, isn't it? So they become less.
8.
You go to 4th year in university, how many have you lost?
4.
Many.
Many, isn't it?
Now you remain.
So you are becoming less and less what?
Fertile.
Isn't it? Okay. So these are the costs, some of the costs I'm talking about.
Yes.
But then we also have the cost of the real children. The ones that you have been given back.
Yes.
In the past,
I'm here sweating.
children were raised by communities.
Yes.
the cost of children was very low and the value was very high. Why was the value high? Household chores, taking care of younger siblings, setting someone here and there, you know. But the need for children has not gone down because of the changed economic, social circumstances. We still have the need for children because children will compete for us with others for job opportunities, remittances, and things like that. So these are some of the values. But how much do you get in this child vis-a-vis how much you invest? Isn't it?
Okay. Right.
What is the social cost?
Yes.
You want to go to Kisumu, spur of the moment.
Yeah.
The fellow is tugging on your coattail.
Yeah.
You can't go.
No, you can't.
She can move anytime she wants. So there's less pressure on her from this side.
Yeah.
But then there's also the cost of societal perceptions.
Okay.
That this one is an outcast, isn't it? There's that kind of thinking. Talking about marriage, we have now a lot of ambiguity in marriage because we used to just have straightforward courtship, celebration.
Marriage.
Last one is what? No, consummation.
Consummation,
Isn't it?
yes.
It was just straightforward.
Oh, yeah.
But now we have courtship, cohabitation. We don't know. Child comes.
We know. We
You
don't.
know?
Baby
So
mama,
this ambiguity,
baby baba.
this ambiguity is also driving is bringing a lot of confusion
Yeah.
in Africa. In Africa, this ambiguity. We don't know whether it's a marriage or a cohabitation. We don't know.
Yeah.
That's why the question comes, what next? Rorashu is when? Mtoto. You know, we have steps that should be followed. But then some people are saying, I don't want to go through those steps.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they are a minority. The numbers are few. But society fears that the critical mass will come. Society fears. That's why there's a lot of pressure.
All right.
A lot of pressure.
Yeah.
But you see, when you have children, nobody helps you to bring them up.
No, not anymore.
It's you. The
Yeah.
the continuous nucleation of the family
Yeah.
away from the extended family.
Okay.
Children's rights. They even decide the diet in the house. Isn't it?
If you give them chores, they say it's child labor.
Child labor.
Okay.
Isn't it? So these are some of the things that we are grappling with.
Yeah.
And remember, we are operating on a cultural platform.
Yeah.
Culture that puts us on the straight and narrow.
Yeah.
If you go aside, you are left. You go this side, you are left.
Okay.
Culture that also has religion,
Yeah.
the law,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
So these are the things that we are grappling with. And society is dynamically
And
changing.
it's a lot because it's
Very
not
fast.
just, it's not first, like it's multifaceted.
Yes,
So there's so
multifaceted.
so many things that you need to consider, look into. And Mudhoni explained earlier how she has dealt with the female and the male and how they come on to her when they have ideas of how probably she should live her life. But she's chosen to live her life the way she has chosen to live it. And that is child-free. But the question is, Mudhoni, like it was asked earlier, have you dug deep enough? And do you think umefika kwa flow ya hiyo digging, that you're comfortable to make this decision, that you this is it and there will not be regrets? I do not, even if there will be, I don't think we'll be there. But what does it look like on your end, having had all of this? And you can respond to any other question that was asked earlier.
I have. I find it very fascinating when people say I'm too young to make the decision for myself, because if I woke up and had a child today, no one would think I'm too young for that. So that's very concerning, because it's like, why is it that having a child, which is a decision that impacts more than one person, is like, oh yeah, ooh, ready, set, go, you're good for that one. But then when I go like, there's this decision that only impacts me, everyone's like, okay, let's talk about that. So I find that to be very fascinating. Right now, if I wanted to shift careers, no one would be like, you are too young to make this decision. Give it 5 more years. Right now, if I said, I'm trusted to vote for president. I am trusted to switch jobs. I am trusted to get a divorce because that happened. Yeah, I'm trusted to vie for a political seat. But this one thing, it's like, how dare you think that this is the one decision you get to make. So I find that to be very fascinating from a societal perspective, because then that you're telling me that there's certain choices I'm allowed to make for myself, but there's others where you want to chime in.
We are part of those choices.
Where we have to be part of this particular one.
Okay.
And it's the one that doesn't even affect you. If I go and vote for the wrong person, it affects me. Yeah. If I switch jobs and you are someone who was expecting black tax from me and now I'm earning less, it affects you.
It affects
right? If you are someone who was getting free labor from me, being around where you can drop off your kids, I watched them for 2 weeks and I moved to Diani. Now it affects you, right? But when I make this decision that is about me and my happiness and how I want to live my life, then it's like, no, Muthoni, why? No, let's discuss it. So when it comes to the age, I don't think there's anything like the right age. Everyone knows the age that they're good for whatever they want to do. I have done the math for myself. And I keep telling people, because I've been asked so many questions, like, is it a financial thing where you're like, oh, if I was this place financially, that then this decision would be different? And the answer is no. For me, this is the thing I always tell people, even if I got into the shower and it rained money, I would still not want children. So that's not the decision, right? That's not the decision maker. Because for me, I've interrogated myself and I know that's not the life I want for me. And that's why I keep telling people, it's not the life I want for myself. I don't envision myself waking up, getting a child ready for school. Hata sijuangi wakifunga shule. That's how clueless I am. So it's because that's not the life that I have chosen to go through, right? And I am very okay with that decision. People talk about regret.
Yes, and old age.
Yes, we'll come to the old age.
Okay, cool.
Regret is like, I would rather regret not having children than have them and regret them. Personally.
Muthoni, why are you doing this?
No, for real. Imagine having a child there and I look at them and I'm like, why the hell? I would rather have the cats and be like, sasa leo mnakula omena. No, you understand? Like it's a heavy. It's a heavier cost. I would rather regret not having children and say, maybe I would have. But also I know that my life has impacted other kids' lives. So I'm very okay with the role that I play in the children's lives that I happen to be in. I'm very okay with that one. I show up as a good auntie. Again, I return them. I love that part the most, because I can show up for them in the capacity I'm able to show up in. Not everyone has that. Like when the people say, I hate it when people tell me, oh, you'd make such a good mother. I'm like, how do you know? How do you know? Because you've seen me with a child for 2 hours. That doesn't mean I would make a good mother. Me knowing myself, I would not make a good mother because I would not want to have a child. Right? So you don't want, we've seen kids who've grown up with mothers who didn't want them. We've seen the price those kids have had to pay. Because when we were talking about price and value, we keep forgetting the price the kids have to pay. Because there's also that cost. There's a cost that kids pay when they are unwanted. There's a cost that kids pay when they are unplanned.
They're called mistakes sometimes.
Yes, we've seen it. We've seen kids who grow up and they say, I never want to be in the presence of my parents ever again. Like you're waiting for the day you turn 18 and you're out of there. So we also have to look at it from that perspective, where just because you woke up one day, and most of the times people don't wake up and actually make the decision, they're like, okay, it's a blessing. And then you treat this blessing very badly. So for someone, it might be a blessing. For another person, it's not. We are not living a linear life. We all don't have to follow this one script. And so when, the question is so fascinating, is it an empowered decision or a selfish choice? I'm like, it can be both. Why not both? Because having children is also a very selfish choice. Give me one unselfish reason to have a child. Because it's always, my legacy. I want to love on someone.
My little heart outside my body.
But mini-me.
Wow, that's selfish. Yes. Is it?
It's a whole human being. That's an autonomous being by themselves. So when everyone is like, this is an extension of me, that's very selfish.
That's selfish,
That is not an extension of you. That's a whole human being.
I'm going through all the excuses in my head.
They're all very selfish.
They don't look right. But I mean, there must be something else. There must be some other perspective of wanting to have children for people who have had children.
Is there?
Yeah.
That is unselfish.
Yeah.
There isn't one that's not selfish. When you think about it from the scope of things, from society's perspective, we want more people to be workers. That's selfish, because capitalism needs to continue.
Or even fill the world.
Yeah, we want to fill the world.
Emmanuel just wants a baby girl, like a small one.
Right? Why? I want to spoil her. Like, there's so many girls that you can spoil now that are already here. Again, you see, because then there's also, and the reason I usually know it's very selfish is when you think about how someone's like, no, I want them to be mine. There's so many kids who need love, who need homes, but you're like, but si wangu. Which tells me it's very selfish. It's about you. It's not even about the kids. It's not about the kids coming and experiencing the world. It's about you and what they do for you. So you and I, in selfishness skill, tuko pamoja. Hapo.
Professor alisema kwanza wanaleta remit. There is some money, they said that. That is a
plan. Afanye chores. So now I'm like, there's less dishes for me to do because at least there's someone else to do the dishes, right? And then there's another cost that people don't think about when it comes to the kids. When you talk about like the chores in the house and taking care of your siblings, the reason there's a lot of people now who don't want to have kids because they had to do that.
Exactly.
They had to raise kids. Before you're 18, you've already raised children. Me, I know I've raised children.
Firstborns can testify.
Yes, we have raised kids. So not becoming a mother doesn't mean you escape raising children.
That's true.
You never escape it, especially being a daughter. If you're a firstborn daughter, it's even worse for you, right? So there's so many people who end up on this side because of that. They're like, you know what, I've done enough rearing, I have done enough motherhood work, and now I only want to raise myself.
Wow.
Most of us are raising ourselves. I'm the only child I want to raise, me. Because when I was a child, I didn't get to participate in being a child for most of the time. Because you're taking care of so many other things. You're filling the gaps. And 90% of the time, this is a call out to men, you're filling the gap that men leave. Yes.
100%.
The fathers are not in the homes.
Yeah.
As a firstborn daughter, you're filling in the gap. So it's you and your mother. This cost, it's women who pay it. So when a woman stands up and she says she doesn't want to have kids, I'm like, good for you, girl. Because with men, there was a very funny tweet. Someone asked, where are all the men who do not have to have kids? It's like they already have them. They just don't participate in their lives. They already have them. A lot of men will walk around and say they do not want to have children, but they have children at home. They have children somewhere. Because the cost of bearing kids is with women. So it's very important, even when because I keep telling people, you have to really want to have kids to want to have them. Don't just wake up and say, now that we're pregnant, we can solve that. Sorry.
So I'll say something controversial.
Please
just
do.
because of my position as a pastor.
Yes.
I actually respect Modoni. Like, I respect her 100%. And I'll tell you why I respect Modoni. I have the privilege of counseling couples. And almost 100, and in psychology they'll also tell you the same thing. More than 90% of the issues that we have in this life come from our childhood homes. And it's because some of us just don't have knowledge, don't have wisdom, don't have patience, don't have the love, don't have what it takes to raise these children. You see, I'll never forget, I'd had all my 3 kids, and I went to do counseling psychology. In counseling psychology, there's one unit that is called human development.
Okay.
When I was learning human development and how the first 6 years, determine these humans' rest of their life, as in that's when, and I'm just listening at this phase, this and this should have happened, and I'm looking at me and my wife, and I'm just like, and then at this phase, 3 boys in. At this phase, this and this is what, this is the ideal. Yeah. And I'm looking at us like, So I'm hitting a strike on every single thing. All right?
Yeah.
And so if there's somebody out there who knows that, man, I'm not ready for this, or I don't want this, for me, I'm 100%, and I will support them with everything in me. You know, I'd rather and I'm not saying this because it's a negative. I'd rather have a Muthoni than have somebody who wants to have kids for whatever desire it is.
Yeah.
Even if it's a spiritual, that it's a command from God, I need to be fruitful and multiply.
Yeah.
But if you're fruitful and multiply and you don't play your role the way you're supposed to,
that's right.
I mean, we've all shared this, that he said it, you've said it, you guys have said it, that the burden of everything is on the woman.
That's true.
But if you look at it biblically, the man has the biggest role in raising the children.
That's true.
Where is the man?
Yeah, nowhere to be seen.
You get.
Yeah.
So yes, people can castigate her, but me, I'll come here and defend her. I'll come and fight with her. She doesn't need me to fight for her, but I'll stand with her and I'll shout those people down if I have to shield her. All right?
Maybe what you're saying about the burden, in gender studies, we have this thing we call nurture-nature.
Yes.
Okay.
Dichotomy.
Yes.
That women are natural caregivers, which is a stereotype anyway.
It is 100%.
That women are natural because they give birth and
Yeah.
they nurse the children.
Yeah.
So therefore, their caregiving is naturally women's role in society. And then this extends even in professional cycles.
Yeah.
You find that we have a meeting where there's a tea break, and then
Yeah.
the women rush to arrange the
Yep.
I found myself there where someone is looking at you like, you're not bringing us tea,
to arrange
sir."
the cups and we always look at them and say, well, we may see them as things that are very natural,
Yes.
and we may not really think much about them until we reflect on them and say, well, somebody says washing dishes and fetching water is not a gender role. It's a basic life skill. Isn't it?
I did that when I was alone.
Yeah, that's true.
I did that when I was alone.
It's basic, by the way.
Basic life skill.
Life skill.
Yes.
Isn't it? So
Yeah.
if you don't know how to do dishes because you think it's a gender role, that's very interesting. You'll starve, isn't it, when you're alone? If you don't know how to make simple tea, the only thing you know how to cook is boil water. The Nigerians will put it.
Yes.
Isn't it? Then you're unfit to survive, even in the Darwinian thinking of survival for
the fittest.
For the fittest, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the thing is, we are making decisions that affect us individually, but we're getting pressured because of societal expectations.
Yes.
So the idea is, how do we address our need as individuals and then navigate the turbulent waters of societal
Society.
expectations?
Expectations.
And that's how now culture begins to
Evolve.
Evolves.
change. When you start reflecting on these issues comfortably and say, this is not right for me, this is not right for me,
Yeah.
then people have to respect this. Now, my dilemma here now is, Muthoni wants no children.
Yes.
She also wants a man who doesn't want children.
Children.
Yeah.
She's very resolute in her decision making.
Yeah.
She's very resolute.
Yeah.
When you go back to the issue of evolution,
Yes.
I wouldn't say naturally, but in a biased way.
Yeah.
What we read about reproduction is men are wired to reproduce. They are wired to reproduce.
Okay.
So it's interesting that somebody may come and say, is it Socrates or Aristotle who said, it's only fools that don't change their
Mind.
their minds. Isn't it? It will be very easy for a man to change their mind in future because their reproductive life cycle is elastic.
Yes.
For women, we are now, I would say, stepping into dangerous, in quotes, waters.
What else?
If, he said, thinking about it deeply, made the decision. Supposing when you get to 50, just supposing. And then you decide, I think I should have, I should have. But you said you rather regret not having. But that nagging feeling, that corner that I turned was catastrophic. Isn't it? Or tragic, so to speak.
What happens then?
If a man gets there and they decide to change, they are somehow free, so to speak,
do it.
to change.
Okay.
Now it's interesting when we talk about people deciding not to have children.
Yes.
And a man may decide not to have children.
Okay.
And she said, and we know people have children for selfish reasons. Wholly selfish.
Yeah.
We have a new phenomenon called gene harvesting.
Okay.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Where a woman will have a child with a man, and the man will never know about it.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yes.
So this man just lives comfortable saying, I'll never have children. Isn't it?
Yeah.
I'll never have.
Yeah.
But there's somebody who has his child
out there.
and very comfortable.
Yeah.
So is that decision, is this man really child-free?
See, that question for the man, I think, is very for the man.
No way.
Because he doesn't know. I don't think, does he know?
So that's the question.
He doesn't know he is child-free.
He doesn't know he's child-free, but then probably he's made a conscious decision of not getting children, having done the things that he did without taking care of himself.
That's the kind of philosophical thinking that may disturb, some people.
Some people.
Research that a man has decided, I'll never have any child.
Yes.
He is very selfish with these genes.
Yes.
But some of the genes have been
they're out there. We're going to take a very short commercial break on that very note. And the question of the day is, can a relationship truly thrive long-term if one partner wants marriage or children and the other does not, no matter how strong their love is? And your feedback is quite something. The Bible tells us, Albert Kisanya, the Bible tells us that children are a blessing from God. Michelle Karen says, your life, your choice. John Borrow says, we listen and judge. Kevin Angoya says, you did yourself a favor. Lemayan Mariam says, I like this kind of people. Do what makes you happy. A happy world starts with a happy self. John Gichimu Banjeri says, everyone is entitled to his or her beliefs or lifestyle. Eunice says, why are we judging her? Why are people judging her? That's her life and that's her decision. And we'll be checking more of your feedback after this very, very, very short commercial break. Don't go too far. Welcome back to Your World. We're talking matters child-free today, and I'm your host, Mwikali. I have Muthoni Emmanuel, we have Dog Kamali, and we have Bishop Dalizu as well. And the conversation has taken all sorts of forms and direction. And I came across a statistic that says between 2020 and 2023, roughly 16,000 women in East African countries underwent tubal ligation. That is according to Kenya's health ministry. And well, it's still unclear how many of these women didn't have children already, because like Bishop shared earlier, that she had already had children and she was just like, I'm done. And this is it. But Muthoni, this is a finality for you. Like, this is not a decision that is like, as we are asking you the nagging questions, this is, you have done it, you are done. Because they say the reversal of it is neither here nor there. It cannot quite be successful sometimes. Sometimes it has been, but it's one of those things, even if as you go in, you'll be told, reversal hatuku promise. So uko sure. Making that decision, because I know it wasn't a one-time thing. I think you went in fast and then you were told, ndo uzeeke kidogo, and then when you come back, it happened. So making that decision for you and finding a space where they could do that for you without having any questions. How was that journey?
it was a 10-year journey. So.
Yeah.
10.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
quite
10
some
years.
time.
Yeah.
So it was because it was something that I knew I wanted, and of course at first there's the biases where people are like, you're ttoo young. Again, the being young thing keeps getting thrown
I think you
around.
just look young.
I
Bonnie. You
do.
look amazing.
Because I was like, actually, when she said she did hers in her mid-30s, I'm like, same. So, yes.
She doesn't look it.
So I know that one of the reasons where people judge me harshly is because they think I'm really young. So like, how do you know you're too young? But I'm like, when they were saying 40, I'm like, it's not that far off for me right now. Like,
Yeah.
I'm closer to, okay, I'm in the midpoint of 40 and 30, so that's good.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like a 10-year journey. And the first time there was like the biases where the doctors were just like, no, this is definitely not. So even the second time now, when I actually got the procedure done, I went and I was ready. I had a speech prepared. I was really gonna talk them out of it. And then the doctor was like, okay, you understand what this means for you? Yeah, and we walked through the procedure and they're like, okay, cool, we're good to go. And I was like, wait, I had a speech.
Nipeleke wapi hii speech yangu?
Sijafanya speech yangu.
Yeah.
But I was grateful that I didn't have to make the speech, right?
Yeah.
Because the fact that I even had to prepare it the first time was a problem.
Yeah.
But it was, and for me the problem was the first time, all the questions I was asked had everything to do with everyone else but me. The questions weren't about, Muthoni, do you know what this will do to you mentally? Do you know what this will do for you when you're like 40?
Because
No.
Bishop said that she went through a whole mental
No.
sort of like breakdown afterwards.
The first time I was asked, what if you meet a man who wants to have children? What? And I'm like, then they can go on and have children with whoever they want to have children with.
Yeah.
Then the other question is like, does your mother know that you're doing this? What if? So it was all about everyone but me.
But you.
The second time round, it was like, do you understand what this means for you? Do you understand this is a permanent procedure? Yes. Do you understand that then reversal is not an option? Yes. So the second time it was about me. The first time it had nothing to do with me. So for me, that shift, I don't know if it was also because time had passed. Even now, medically, we're like, okay, we're more open to allowing people to do what they want for themselves.
Yeah.
So I think that for me was, I was like, oh, thank
Okay.
God.
Thank God you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the funniest part was that day when I was getting the procedure, they were like, father women, and I was the only person who didn't have kids yet. Everyone else had children, and they're like, me, I'm done. I'm here to... And the conversation with them was also very different. But now the funniest part was they were being asked, Mzee anajua. Which again, I was just like, because the doctor had to walk us through what the procedure is, what will happen, the healing process. So since I was like a couple of us, was like, let's do it together. And another part that scared me the most was where the doctor was like, you know, since you'll be cut open, please don't allow Mzee to touch you for the next 7 days. In my head, I'm thinking, why would we even be talking about this part? If I've gone through a medical procedure that was essentially surgery, why would anyone think of touching me? Because I was like, I would beat you up and take myself to jail. Okay? That was my thought process. But the fact that this is still a conversation that needs to be had, that means we still need to advance. There's still some work to be done.
A lot.
When it comes to things like relationships, I am very upfront about it. When people say, oh, first date conversations, this one is a first date conversation for me.
Okay.
I do not date people who have children, who want to have children, who are unsure. When someone's like, if it happens, sure. If it doesn't, I'm like, good for you. When you decide,
I'll be over here. But how's the pool like? If that is day one conversation, so...
It saves you a lot. Hebu imagine ati tuko hapo hivyo alafu umefolia mtu alafu anaanza kwambia, oh, by the way, Muthoni, just so you know. Just so you know what?
Yeah.
If we knew this day one, there's no day two.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It saves both of us the trouble. And I don't believe in relationships where the reason I say I don't want someone who's unsure, someone who's like, if it happens, fine. If it doesn't, fine. You have to be, I'm 100% sure on my decision. You have to be 100% sure on yours. So if you're on the fence, I don't want it to be down the line. You're like, now I have decided that maybe I will have children. Because now I'm like, I invested time and effort into you. I could have invested it in myself or someone who's aligned on the same path as I am.
Okay.
Because one thing I fear in those situations is resentment. I don't want to get to a point where someone goes like, Tia, you know, even I wanted to have kids, but then I met you and I was like, I loved you so much. I decided not to have them. I'm like, please don't make that decision for me. Please do not make it for me. Make it for yourself. Because I didn't make it for you.
No.
I made it for myself.
Yeah.
So it's very important to meet people who are on the same path, who are aligned. Me, I know a lot of child-free people. People keep talking about they don't know child-free men. I can count a couple. I know multiple child-free men. I know multiple child-free women. I think women are more vocal about being child-free than men are. And also, I think with men, it is excused because it's like, even at 90, you can nini. You get with women, there's this clock that has been placed on us. Where you're like, oh my God, but your clock is running out. So make that decision now, right? So I think that's the reason why when men say they're child-free, they're not taken as seriously.
I mean, a doctor may say up at 50 and he's changed his mind because he can, right?
You know, have children.
They are wired in some way.
I don't believe in the wiring. This is just me. I think it's a societal construct as well. It's indoctrinated in us that this is, because even as women, the way we're told, oh, you're nurturing, it's something that is trained. That 0 to 7 years old, you're already told, this is what you grow up to be, this is what you should want in life. So then when you deviate from that path, it's like, we thought we did our training well. What happened here? Did we go wrong? We failed. Exactly. So I think even the idea of men are wired to want to procreate, I think it is just, it's trained. It's a training that happens, and that is why, because it's so sad that you're trained to want to have children, but not to take care of them. Because what's the point of you being a parent if you're not going to actually raise your kids? And the fact that we train women in, oh, okay, this is what you'll be doing, but we don't do the same with men. Even men we grew up in the same households as. Because you can tell how parents treat their sons versus how they treat their daughters. You can tell how you are taught as a girl to clean up after your brothers. But then for them, it's like, you know, that's just how boys are. Boys will be boys. It's a training. So I think that it's a societal construct that we have built, and we've decided this is how we do things. So
I think it's more than a societal construct. I think it's also biological. Because when you're becoming adolescents, like, I don't know about you guys, this might be embarrassing to say, but when I became an adolescent, you know, at 4 a.m., I noticed, you know, somebody was up and ready to do stuff. So, you know, then automatically then there are questions that tell us, why are you up? Why are you feeling these feelings? You know, so again, I think also there's biology that adds to what you're saying.
There's something I wanted to say as regards what Muthoni has said about men not being vocal. I experienced a couple where the man was from the Western world, and the woman was from Africa or Kenya. And they had this relationship going, and she was not getting pregnant. And after a while, she became pregnant. And the man said, you know, this child is not mine. And the woman was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? This child is not yours. And the man said, I know, it's not mine. And if it's mine, I'm going to get huge compensation. And this was a family friend. And we could not understand what he was talking about. And the child was born, lo and behold, nothing close to that man. And he said, you see, I said, he never rejected the child remained. But the man said, I knew all along because there's something I did. I did not want to have children because I traveled a lot. And now I settled in Kenya, and I decided you can come because you have other children. So you can take care of your children as I stay the way I wanted to stay. But you take care of your children. The man had already done vasectomy. So he was never going to have children. And now he was waiting for this child so that DNA is done. And then compensation is done from the hospital institution.
He undertook the vasectomy.
So what I want to say, Muthoni is loud about it. She has said what she wants. And I'm sure by the time she goes for her first date and she brings it up, the option for the other person is that he should go into that kind of situation. Also do a procedure where it will seal it, because if there is a possibility, if you got married, this man will still go out and have children there, and then later these children will come and complicate this child-free environment.
Solutions.
Solution.
Yes.
So it is important on that date that she also gives that message.
Yes.
That if you're interested, then there is a sacrifice that you must do. There is a sacrifice that you must do to stay with me, so that we ensure that our environment, we stick to this covenant of being child-free. Otherwise, children will come. With men, they will come. But I'm glad that men now are embracing it.
Yes.
That is the truth. Men are embracing it. There are conversations about it. There are men who feel they don't want children because of their career, the way they were socialized, maybe an absentee father, and therefore they are going for it voluntarily. But what they are not doing, they are not talking about it, because men fear stigmatization. They don't want to be stigmatized in their families. People should not look like, they should not look to men or society like they are lesser men. Because a man feels they are men through the power of what? Procreation. But if they don't, and that's why you see many times if a man is sterile, many times the woman is blamed. But if the woman cannot give birth, a man will still go out and will talk about who will inherit, who will be there, who will carry on my legacy. But for the woman, it's okay, you can stay. But if it's the other way around, the woman is forced to stay like that. Don't bring any children. Let's go for adoption. Ni sawa ama sio sawa?
You see, your point is quite on spot.
Yes.
Many people mistake vasectomy for castration.
That's true. That's true.
And we know that bulls which are castrated cannot fight in the arena where I come from. They don't have the big neck.
But Dr. I'm not confusing that for that.
No,
maybe
not you.
people.
Not you.
Okay.
I said many
you.
people.
Okay.
And so your point.
Oh, so they are fearful.
I'm saying your point is quite spot on. Your point is quite spot on. So many people confuse vasectomy with
Castration.
So they know that once you go through vasectomy, you no longer function as
a man.
10 a.m. I mean 4 a.m. You no longer function as me. So you are as good as that animal that is used for plowing. You cannot be that animal cannot be borrowed by a neighbor to fertilize.
Funny, used for plowing.
So in fact, if somebody is known to have undergone it, other men will not. It's like
it's even how people talk
it's a
about
contagion.
Yes.
It's like a contagion. Other men will shy away from associating with him. Because not that they have undergone it, but maybe they have also undergone it secretly. That's what they are sure.
That's actually what's been happening. A lot of men are doing it secretly. They don't talk about it.
And if by chance friends know about it, they'll not really be comfortable with him. They'll not be. And this is something about socialized masculinity. Isn't it? Socialized masculinity. A bull that is strong dies with what? Grass in the mouth, isn't it? Still grazing. Socialization.
Doctor, is this an English idiom or is it
it's an African.
An African.
Okay. That's African. A real bull dies with some grass in the mouth. It was still grazing, isn't it?
Yes.
So men will not be seen to undergo vasectomy. And it's good, as Bishop advises, on the first date, be forthright. And then those who are not ready, they'll take off. And who are in the majority. Those who are ready, they'll come on board and demonstrate that they have undergone it or go through it with your witness. Because sometimes the procedure may malfunction deliberately. So these are things that are very, very important for this kind of, at this juncture of life. Very important. Quite important. And it goes still back to decisions about fertility.
Yes.
Still goes back there. People say, fanya kitu, uhesabiwe. Isn't it? Fanya kitu, uhesabiwe. So you just don't pass through life.
Yes.
Like dust that has been blown by a car.
There should be a legacy.
There
and a
must
mark
be some time
that
marks.
ulipitia hapa.
Must be some time marks
But
in
the
there.
time marks don't have to be children.
No, what I'm saying is
Yeah.
that's expectation.
Yeah, but then we
Expectation.
should now maybe be more open to time marks not being children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not necessarily
Exactly.
being children.
But now their time marks are children. So we need to work on that, changing that mindset. And remember what we call habits that are ingrained in us. They die hard. They die hard.
Okay.
But Professor, don't you think that is toxic masculinity? Where you are not willing to give some miles towards, you know, this person that you love. The sacrifice, I think, because love is about sacrifice.
It's toxic humanity. Not
You see,
Masculinity. No, because let me say this.
Yes.
Emmanuel, the way you come out strong. Because a man, the way you said, a man, the way he's socialized,
Yes.
he would not want to do that. Is like a bull that must die with some grass in there. What does that mean? That this man, for whatever reason, they are not socialized to give up anything.
No.
They must go on. That is toxic.
well,
masculinity.
the thing is this, huh?
Yes.
And for me, I'm saying what I observe.
Okay.
I'm not saying what I believe in.
Thank you. We clap for you.
I'm saying what I believe, what I observe.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Now, if we are saying that somebody can choose to undergo a procedure that is permanent,
Yes.
a lady,
Yes.
then we should also allow latitude for the men to also be free to choose.
To
it.
choose.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, if they are unwilling,
Yes.
we should not blame them.
No, not at all.
Even the ladies, we don't blame even
Yes,
the
of course.
ladies.
Even
Yeah.
the lady who has
Yes.
gone through it,
Yeah.
we should not blame them.
Yeah.
We say this personal choice
Yeah.
Yes.
that is and has been undertaken with full informed consent and knowledge.
Yeah.
Knowing that whatever happens, whether they call you in later on old hag without what, that's their problem.
Yeah.
This is your life. But again, the men who are coming into this line of fire, we should also allow them latitude. Because we are dealing with a societal issue.
Yeah.
We are not dealing with an individual issue.
Yes.
And this is something about culture. We don't live as individual molecule atoms.
Yeah.
We live
Yeah.
in a social network.
In a social
Yes.
network,
That's
yes.
true. Okay.
Which means our decisions
Yeah.
affect other people.
Other people.
Yeah.
Other people's decisions affect
Affect
us.
other
You know, most men that have decided to go for vasectomy
Yes.
willingly, most of them have had children before.
Yes.
And now, because they still want to wander, you know, they want to wander. And there's what they have accumulated. Like Professor here may have accumulated, you know, a house there, this, that. You don't want to wander, and then somebody comes to lay claim. And that's why.
You want
that
to
is
wander
what-
carefully.
Yes, you want to wander knowing that there's no mark left anywhere.
No repercussions.
There are no repercussions. And what I have is for my nuclear family. That is what is informing the present day vasectomy. Yeah.
And we are 2 minutes to the end of the show.
All right, thank you.
And I think as we give our parting shots, maybe Muthoni, what is that thing then for you that you choose to leave behind, or a mark, or a legacy, or you're working towards? You've made a sacrifice in terms of this is what I want. I choose to deal with these TV interviews, to deal with family, to deal with, you know, all of that as I answer these questions. But what is it then that energy probably is channeled towards, if at all?
I think for me, it's like the fight for bodily autonomy for women.
Okay.
Like, I know for sure, me speaking up and doing things like this,
Yeah.
It encourages people to feel seen, women who are like me to feel seen and to know that they're not alone.
Okay.
So for me, that's that. And living my life to my fullest. Like, I want, when I die, it's like, y'all will notice I'm gone. You'll be like, wow, the world is less colorful. How sad.
Oh, okay. And the floor is open for the parting shots before we close in the next 1 minute. So, Emmanuel.
Yeah, I think for me, it's just to say to every single person, they need to question the why. The why
Yes.
you want to get married, the why you don't want to get married, the why you want to have children, and the why you don't want to have children. And you have to ensure that you do the homework to find out that you're actually making a sound decision, whichever way you go, because you're definitely affecting others.
That's true.
Yeah, regardless of which path
Choice
you choose.
that you take.
Yeah.
Okay. Daktari?
We are living in interesting times.
Yes.
Society is evolving quite fast, quite dynamically. So we need to be very ready to deal with these challenges. And more information is required for everyone to make the right decision they want to make.
My parting shot, Muthoni, you're very colorful. So, of course, the world would miss you. What I want to say is that, biblically speaking, is that anything that goes against the word of God is not permitted. And certainly she's not against the word of God, even if she may not be a believer. Everything should be done according to the principles of the word of God.
Yeah.
Na nimemalizia hapo.
Na umemalizia hapo.
Yeah.
Asanteni sana kwa kuja. We had Emmanuel Gachanja, relationship coach and the founder of IVOW, Dr. Khamati Sheila Buka, environmental anthropologist, Institute of Anthropology, Gender and African Studies, UON, Asante sana, and Bishop Grace Muthoni Dalizu, who's a marriage counselor and a bishop as well. Asanteni sana. And for you for tuning in and for talking to us, we do not take it for granted. Asante, we will be doing this again tomorrow, same time, same place. And remember, every Wednesday, we are all about your health and your wellness. So until then, have a good day. Adios.